Ladies and gentlemen, back to Ideas at Work and Beyond. For you Mets fans that are holding on by a very thin thread, for those of you ready to jump off the George Washington Bridge, we're going to come up with an update. When we last joined our heroes, the Titans of Shea Stadium, it was 6-4. Is that the score right now?
Commercial right now.
It's a commercial right now. They're selling Geico car insurance, but we'll get back to you. The thing that really gets my goat on this is the Cubbies, the beloved Cubbies. Don't even need these games.
The curse of the goat.
This is like a scrimmage for them. Come on, boys, give us a break. We got to get into the playoffs. You don't understand. We had a swoon last year. 7 games up with 17 to play, and they didn't make the playoffs.
It was awful.
We've got to get that goat off that monkey off our back. So as soon as we have an update on the Mets game, we will come to you. Ideas at Work and Beyond. It's been our intention for this show, Ideas at Work and Beyond. I mean, could there ever be a more nebulous name for a television show? Does that keep it completely open-ended? But what we want to have is kind of like a kitchen table discussion of the issues at hand. And join us, won't you, 792-4101. Before I take the call, I'd like to welcome Al Robinson. Some hate him, some love him. Hat City Blog.
Everybody loves him.
Always provocative. Thanks for joining us. Let's take this call. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I just want to say go Mets.
Go Mets. Do you have an update on the score?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, well, when you get an update, call back. Thanks so much.
Let's talk about the Mets for a second.
Yesterday, we're about to have a economic meltdown.
Who cares about that? The meltdown.
We got McCain and this wonderful lady from Alaska about to bump off your guy Obama, and Joe Biden, who doesn't even know that television wasn't invented in 1929, let alone that FDR wasn't even president then.
Okay.
But you want to talk Mets, but that's okay. I need a diversion.
Eighth, ninth inning. Bases loaded, no outs. You can't bring one run in to win the game?
The opening guy gets up and hits a triple. And that guy was booking it, head first slide, dirt all over his uniform. He's like, hey, I'm going to be the hero. And he dies right there. I mean,
what are we supposed to do here?
We're supposed to be in trouble. You got an update on the Mets game?
Yeah, guys, it's 6-4.
Still 6-4. What inning?
The bottom of the 8th.
Bottom of the 8th. Thank you for the update. Appreciate that. 6-4, bottom of the 8th.
And with the win, we would have tied up in terms of the amount of losses.
Oh, the Philadelphia lost last night.
We would have been right there. Now you can just kiss it goodbye. I mean, go down to Shea on Saturday. It's the last game.
I don't know.
It's over.
I don't know. I'm a little concerned. All right.
A little.
Okay. For the New York Mets, let's talk what is going on. And just so I can help get my head around this, I need to recap. I need to reboot a little bit.
Okay.
We're having an election. We've had 8 years of the George Bush administration.
Yeah.
I know you don't share this feeling, I think he's done a lot of good. We were attacked on 9/11. He responded, I think, in a strong way, which I think was
by attacking Iraq?
By attacking, I believe it was a Bush doctrine, which apparently Mrs. Palin doesn't know.
Your girl?
Well, the Bush doctrine is somewhat ill-defined.
Girl?
But one of the Bush doctrine is, if you come over and slaughter 3,000 of our citizens, there will be a retaliation. You will hear from us.
He just didn't hit the right country, though, right?
I disagree with that because
Iraq had everything to do with it.
I disagree that Saddam Hussein and the Iraqi government was a state sponsor of terrorism. They were. The Bush doctrine says that if you are a terrorist or you are a state that sponsors terrorism, we're coming after you. Like it or not, that was a Bush doctrine.
That was more important. That was the more priority to go after Iraq than to take care of a Muslim who's like 6'4" on the dialysis in the mountains of Afghanistan.
I'm sorry. I think it was Barack Obama who said we can do more than one thing at once. Wasn't he just saying that? Talking about the debate going to Mississippi?
Tell John McCain about that.
Well, okay, but I
think
we can go ahead and take down Iraq and go after Afghanistan and go after the big guy on the kidney dialysis machine.
And take care of all this big bad.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, 9/11 already passed. Let it be.
What are we talking about? Iraq? We should just leave that alone?
Base right now.
What's that?
The Mets are on base.
Oh, Mets are on base. That's good. What's this, the 8th inning?
Yeah, Carlos Delgado's about to hit a homer right now.
Oh, okay. You keep us informed on that. Thank you. Okay. Harold Salgado's up. All is not lost. Okay, so anyway, so going back, we got Bush. Now he gets reelected. Now there's a national election. The economy is not good. We are still...
Well, no, according to you, a few months ago, the economy was pretty good. Or the fundamentals of the economy was good?
Well,
on Chris Shays and John McCain?
I do think that the fundamentals of the economy are still sound. I do feel that.
How can you say that in today's environment?
Well, I think the GNP grew by 3.3% in the last quarter that it was recorded. I'm just telling you, those are the numbers.
We have AIG. I mean, you understand who AIG is,
yes,
right?
I do. That's the new. That's the new.
They're going belly up. That's trouble. That's major, major trouble.
Yes.
If they go, the domino effect comes down. If they go one day on Monday, Union Savings Bank goes on Friday.
Right.
I've told you before during the break. My 401k was like this. And that scares a lot of people like me.
Yeah.
Middle income, starting family. Average American taxpayers, you watch your 401k go like that. That's scary.
You watch your real estate values go down. That's the biggest asset most Americans have is their house.
Absolutely.
And it's an asset that appreciates over time. And to see that go down in value is scary. There's no doubt about that.
And in terms of the greatest investment you can make would be in buying a home.
Yeah.
And you see that go down. That's very scary. And that's what we're living in right now. And a lot of people are very worried about this. And we need to see leadership on this matter. And when you talk about a $700 billion bailout without any conditions, and corporate CEOs who were a part of the problem getting away with these big-time settlements, that just angers a lot of people.
Yeah.
Why should we bail out people who were a part of the problem, who created this problem? You return into a socialist society. It's not fair for me. It's not fair for my child, who's 2 years old, to be slapped with a $3,000 hit before she's able to speak more than 10 words. And you know, when you look at it in those terms, we're in a lot of trouble, and a lot of people are just angry about this. And we want to find out. First of all, I think it comes from, and I know you're not a big fan of this, but you look back at the Phil Gramm deregulation, and actually, I'll be honest with you, it's both sides of the political aisle.
Yeah.
Because this happened back in '99 with Bill Clinton signing it.
Yeah.
But that Phil Gramm deregulation that he pushed really hard to create the Enron nonsense, that created the separation of the banking system, where one set of banks had to go were working under one set of rules, and the other banks were working on another set of rules. He created these easy to get loans, which in spirit were
home ownership. That's what they were pushing.
We're good because most minorities beforehand were very hard to get home loans. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a certain race, and we don't want you in this neighborhood. We don't want to give you a loan. They wanted to make it easier for people to get homes because it's a great investment for our country.
Right.
But they just took all the safeguards away from these investors who are just making these bad decisions and giving away these bad loans with these interest rates that go up and down like this. They're not fixed interest rates, they're variable interest rates. And
I don't see them going down, they go up.
No, they go straight. They're going right through the roof.
Right.
And
all right.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, no, I mean,
I'm sorry. I just think that was a big problem. That caused a lot of the problems that we have right now.
Yeah.
And it isn't getting any better, folks.
No, but it seemed like that was under the radar, and this thing has reared its ugly head in a profound way. You have Lehman Brothers going down, you got AIG going down, you got Freddie and Fannie going down.
Not going down. Let's be correct about this. We're bailing them out.
Well, yeah.
That's even worse. So we're picking up the tab for their irresponsibility.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think that is
$1 trillion now. We're up.
Okay.
We're talking about $1 trillion.
Fair enough. You've laid the groundwork.
All right.
Here we are. Now, let me just take the other side of the coin just briefly, okay? And by the way, please don't hesitate to join the conversation. 792-4101. 792-4101. We'd like to get your input on this as well. But what I'm seeing is the government needs to come in. The only thing worse than doing this bailout is not doing the bailout. Because if you don't show confidence in these markets, and we have a complete meltdown of the stock exchange and the currency exchange, and real estate prices go down even further, that's going to create a lot more pain for a lot more people, and it's really going to spread. Now, follow me on this.
Okay.
Because I've kind of looked into this a little bit.
Because a few months ago, you were saying something different when I was on this show, and you know.
What did I say? I know you got it on tape. What was I saying?
I'll make a little YouTube clip for you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't doubt that. Hat City blog. It makes for some interesting viewing.
Dangerous.
If you ever said anything wrong, he's got tape of it. Hat City blog. If you don't believe it.
When we talked about people in the foreclosure crisis, you said, well, these people made bad home loans. They couldn't afford these loans, so they should go under. And I said to that, you know, if you let these loans go bad, it's just going to be a trickle-down effect. It's going to be a domino effect. And that's basically what we have right now. Because, again, this all basically came from the deregulation of an area that was regulated from FDR on up. You got a serious problem here, because people are just getting away with like raking in the cash and letting people suffer on the other side.
Because they were making money just lining up these mortgages, selling these mortgages, trading these mortgages, and the idea was that it was all backed by United States real estate, and that was why these mortgages were sold all across the world.
Right.
So now you had these, you know, you buy a house in Danbury, you pay whatever $300,000 for a nice modest house in Danbury. They get a mortgage for that, and then they cut up that mortgage and repackage it and sell it as an investment vehicle all across the globe.
Exactly.
Now all of a sudden there's no confidence in that, and there's no market for it, and people are saying it's called a mark-to-market accounting rules, and they're saying you have to show what the real value of that is, and if people aren't buying it, the value is nearly zero.
Exactly.
But there's still a $300,000 house that backs that up. There still is some value there. Now, let me just talk.
I'm sorry.
This is where this bailout that they're talking about, why it's so important, why the Department of Treasury, why John McCain has delayed or called a halt to his campaign, why they're having this. By the way, if we can get this on, I have a couple, copies of the paper. This is why they're having a summit. They're all meeting at the White House. This is why the Wall Street Journal, no liberal rag by any stretch of the imagination, says financial crisis is upending the campaign. This is why New York Times talks about Bush holds meeting on bailout, first debate up in the air, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if they're going to have that debate. I mean, this is really historic stuff. Never in the history of the United States have you had two candidates, 39, 40 days away from the election, meeting in the White House to discuss an economic issue. Let me give us all a ray of hope, okay?
All right.
Hold on one second, there's a call. Caller, you're on the air?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment on what's going on in Wall Street.
Please, give us some enlightenment.
Okay, in my observation, basically Wall Street got in trouble was there was a lot of heavy speculation going on, especially on what real estate markets will do. And I have two questions for Al Robinson, if I can change the subject a little bit. Because there is a charter revision commission going on right now, do you know, Al, if it's possible if there would be a deputy mayor, does it have to be in the charter? And also, if there could be a police commission in Danbury, does that have to be in the charter? And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you, and have a good show.
Okay, thank you. Real quick, charter revision, deputy mayor,
charter revision.
Police
charter
commission?
revision is happening right now. A deputy mayor, I don't really know. A lot of stuff that the city does is based upon state statutes, so I don't really know. I know that if let's say, for instance, if the mayor resigns, that the president of the Common Council, takes over as the mayor.
Is there a police commission in Danbury?
There is a chief of police, Al Baker.
There's a police commission in Ridgefield that works really good.
I don't know. Again,
a group of citizens that the police answer to if there's any issues out there. There's
a lot of issues in Richfield, huh?
There's issues. We have our issues.
The house is painted the wrong color.
No. There's cats in trees. There's people speeding. There's all kinds of problems.
For the call, I will make it a point to research that, and I'll put the information up on my site just for you.
Okay. Back to the entire financial meltdown of the Western world. let me just give a ray of hope here. It's not as if we haven't been in similar situations before. Now, you're a young man, you're not as old as me, but I can remember the 1980s when we had the savings and loans crisis.
Oh, the Keating Five? The Keating Five with John McCain?
That's correct. Keating Five, he was a big developer in Arizona. He was under
$500 billion.
Right, that was a huge problem, and it was as a result of the deregulation of the savings and loan industry.
Yes.
If that sounds like something familiar, and what the government set up was the RTC, the Resolution Trust Corporation, I believe it was,
correct.
And they bought up all these assets at fire sale prices, I might add, and then they went ahead and sold them, and in the end, the taxpayers actually made money on the deal, and it didn't cost them a nickel. They actually made money. Now, here's another example. Let me give you a couple. I got a couple now.
All right.
One is Chrysler. Now, this is going back to the Carter administration.
I
As
remember that.
Lee Iacocca said that had it taken place in the Reagan era, the government might not have bailed them out. But Jimmy Carter bailed out Chrysler with Lee Iacocca, if you'll recall. You might be too young to remember that.
I'm 40 years old. I remember all the K cars.
Okay, the K cars and everything. And again, they paid back the government with interest, and they made money. One last example, Mexico. Now this was about 10, 15 years ago now, maybe more. But Mexico was in trouble. The government did not want to see Mexico spiral into some sort of extended depression. They did something like this, and Mexico paid them back with interest, and they made money. So as much as my hands off, laissez-faire, let the market work, Republican approach, there is a time, and now is it, for the government to step up and back these markets with this type of money that they're talking about.
I don't disagree with you entirely.
Good.
There are just some issues I have. I don't want to give a bailout where CEOs can walk away with taxpayers' money.
Agreed. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that.
There needs to be some serious safeguards put in place to make sure that our money is taken care of properly. I don't want these companies reinvesting taxpayers' money to do other stuff.
Absolutely.
There needs to be some safeguards in it. In all due respect, I just don't trust what this current administration gave us in terms of
was the Secretary of the Treasury said.
Wait a second, no safeguards? Just give me the money and just let me go do my thing?
Okay.
At one lump sum?
Okay. Do you agree that if there's too much time, too much tinkering, that the impact of what they're trying to do will dissipate and the markets might just tank because they're saying you guys in Washington can't get anything done and you're killing all of us? If you think your 401k went down so far,
right,
wait till they say, we can't agree on anything, it's their fault, and then watch your 401k.
And that's why I'm so upset with both presidential candidates, but more importantly John McCain, both presidential candidates getting involved with this matter. The people in Congress were working this thing out. You don't want politics involved in this matter. It's too sensitive. When you talk about the money markets and Wall Street, it's a volatile market. Anything that happens can make it go up and down. And you got these guys in here playing partisan politics, delaying this. It's going to make things go crazy.
Okay,
you got to stay away from that stuff.
Okay. Let me again take the other side of that. I think what McCain proposed to do, first of all, I think it's unseemly to be sitting in Mississippi debating international relations while there's a complete meltdown of the economic system.
We knew that wasn't going to happen. This debate was not going to be about foreign policy. They'll take any foreign policy question and flip it right to the economy.
Okay.
In fact, they should have changed the format to the economy.
Okay, well, it still might take place. I don't know. We have a wonderful party set up at the Republican headquarters in Ridgefield tomorrow night, Friday night. Join us, won't you, to watch the debate. We have two large screen TVs. We'll be watching the debate. By the way, do we have an update on the Mets? Hold on a second. Caller, you're on the air.
Can you say we're all tied up?
All tied up? Mets? See there, things are looking up. Thank you for that update. Appreciate it. Okay, the Mets are all tied up with the dreaded Cubbies, who don't even need to win this game. Come on, Cubbies, give us a break. But I think by John McCain making this decision, and love him or hate him, the guy will roll the dice. I'm telling you, he will roll the dice.
He's not a part of the steering committee. Not a part of the steering committee.
Who, McCain?
who's not a part of the steering committee.
Steering
What's
committee,
this-
schmearing committee. We're about to have a financial meltdown. He's the most
What is he
powerful
doing?
Republican. He's more powerful than Bush at this point. He's about to be elected president, him or Barack Obama.
Okay.
What else are they supposed to be focusing on right now? This is the most important thing. He's
This is important.
He's putting
But
people's
again,
feet
I
to the
don't
fire
think
to
they
make
need
a
to be
decision
coming
on
in here
this.
doing partisan politics. And what we saw late today was extreme partisan politics. Again, the stock
No.
market, you can't play around with this. I mean, if there's a snowstorm, it starts going crazy. There needs to be some level heads in this matter and get the details worked out and get this thing passed. We don't need partisan politics, which is volatile right now. These partisan politics are way out of control and very ugly. We don't need that getting involved into my 401k.
Well, you're
That gets scary.
Okay, well, let me just say this. The markets, your 401k, if they get a deal passed, maybe for the short run, maybe this isn't the right direction we should go, what have you. That's yet to be seen. I'd like to think it's going to end up like Mexico, Chrysler, and what was the other brilliant example I gave?
Chrysler?
Yeah, Mexico, Chrysler, and the
SNL,
RTC, the SNL
RTC,
crisis. I think I'm, the eternal optimist. I think it's going to work out okay.
You better hope it does.
I know. I got 401ks. I got a house that you're thinking, hey, this is going to be our retirement. It keeps going down. People aren't selling houses. Heaven forbid people aren't painting houses, but that's another story. But I want to see this thing turned around. But it needs to turn around, and it needs to turn around fast. And
Well, if it doesn't, next thing you know, the banks are not going to be giving out loans.
they're already not.
I know. It's
They're
bad.
frozen.
It's tough.
I mean, they had articles. I was just reading through all this. A guy, brilliant, a wonderful tax, wonderful credit rating, thoroughgoing business. They cannot get a loan. That's going to put a crimp on everyone. I'm telling you, that's what they're talking about. They need to do this bailout.
Well, again, I'm not disagreeing with the bailout, but we have to take caution in terms of what type of bailout we're giving. Do you want a bailout in which CEOs are getting away with tens of millions of dollars?
I don't
just walking
know.
out?
There's a thing called a straw man argument. You know what that is?
Yeah.
That's where you create a straw man and you knock them down and you feel good. Who is out there saying, hey, we got to make sure that we have these, golden parachutes? No one is.
Well, you want to make sure that when you do the deal, that's not in there because you know people can find a loophole in a heartbeat.
All right.
And we're talking about Washington here.
I understand.
Well,
we got a minute left. We got 30 seconds. My fellow Americans, here it is, September 25th. We're at a crossroads. The Mets are now tied with the Chicago Cubs, and after we go off air, we're going to hope for the best outcome on that. But all kidding aside, this financial situation is a tough situation. We're concerned about it. I would encourage you to encourage your congressmen and your senators to sit down and get this deal done. Because if it isn't done, and it isn't done fairly quickly, I'm fearful for what it could mean to the economy, what it could mean to Al Robinson's 401k, what it could mean to the value of my house, and what it means to the value of your investments as well. So we'll see. I'm still optimistic about the United States of America, and whether it's Barack Obama or John McCain that leads us into the future, or the Caribou, I'm still very optimistic. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Ideas and Work and Beyond.